Today we're going to show you how to join an 8-core alarm cable. The purpose of this video is just in case you've had your cable cut either by carpet fitter or you've been doing some work and accidentally snap your cable. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the cable so it's actually gone into two pieces. Now I'm going to show this joint doing it two different ways, because depending on where your joint is going to be and where you can hide it depends on how you're going to joint it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strip the white cable off the cable I've got there, like so, and I'll do the same with this side. And all I'm doing is just gently cutting around the edge, just being careful to only cut the white sheath of the actual cable, just exposing the cores that we've got inside the cable there. Most typical alarm cables have standard colours. This 8-core cable has got white, yellow, blue, red, black, brown, green and orange. There's no specific colour codes that installers have to have, so the cores could quite literally be circuits or power or both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my cutters round about here, and what I'm going to do is just take the plastic coating off, exposing the bare cables inside each conductor there. You can see it shining, and I'll do that on the end that we said we're going to be repairing there. So now what we've got is on both ends of the cable, I've stripped about a centimetre or so of the sheathing back on each side of the cable. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick the same pair of the cables, so orange will go to orange, and what I'll do is I'll just match them together, and I've left these bits up here for now because it makes it easier to grip the cable. So I'm just going to twist that gently in my fingers like so, and then I'm going to find the next core, and green's quite close there, so I'll do green, and again I'm just going to match these up here so they're the same length. Once I've twisted them, I'll just bend them out of the way. Now I'll choose the next colour, we'll go for red. I'm just twisting them together like this to give it a good connection. Next we'll do the brown. It's always better off doing this as good as you possibly can, so it'll last that a little bit longer. If you have a soldering iron, it's always better to solder it, but not everybody has them. So most people have to make do with just doing a tape joint or putting it in a connector strip. But obviously if you put it underneath your carpet, you're not going to be able to fit a connector strip underneath your carpet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half of these with a connector strip and half of them with just plain insulation tape. So that's all the cores now twisted together. Just basically doing them colour for colour, like so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut off the excess. I don't need them on anymore. And we're left with just the bare cores of the cable. So I'm going to bend them over, because the ones I'm putting in connector strip, if I make the ends a little bit bigger, just gets a better connection inside the connector strip, and less likely, if you don't grip it properly, that you'll just be able to pull the cable back out. So what I'm going to do, the first one I'm going to do as a tape joint, and all I'm using for this is just box standard insulation tape, PVC electrical insulation tape. The preferred way is to do a solder joint, and all I'm doing now is just put in four small pieces of insulation tape, and what I'm going to do for the first four is just wrap it around like so. Doing it this way you can keep the joint nice and small, and if you have a hole underneath your floor you could just push this back underneath the floor. Obviously, like I said, the best thing you can do for this is, if you've got one at this point, is to actually solder them and then put the tape on. So there's the first four now that I'm going to do as a tape joint. And for the next four, I'm just going to use some small connector strips that you can get from most electrical wholesalers or DIY stores or hobby stores, maybe even car spare places. And we'll put that in there. And the key for using the connector strip is just do it so it grips the cable. Don't do it so you can't turn it no more, because if you do it too tight, the terminal screw will actually cut through the cable and then you'll still be left with a fault. So just turn the screw until it grips the cable, and that's all that it needs to do. It doesn't need to be over tightened. So there you go, we can give them a little pull on there. We can see that they're all in properly, and then you've got your two options there. Obviously the connector strip isn't going to sit underneath your carpet, however if we put them flat, that would still actually sit quite nicely underneath your carpet. The ideal way, like I said, would be to do it with the tape, but soldering them with a soldering iron first. From there, what you probably have to do is just check in your panel just to make sure they haven't blown any fuses, and that should be your cable repaired. I hope that video was of use to you. Thanks.